it looks like
There we go.
we're look at that. Okay. I think I need to mute this. I just want to make sure that we're on there.
Hey.
Hello, Christopher. How are you?
Hello, Myra.
Are we actually live
We're
right now
live.
on LinkedIn?
I'm not sure where we're live, but we're
Yeah,
live
we're
somewhere.
on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Look at that. I actually have some technical chops. What can I say?
One or two chops.
One or two?
Yeah.
I try, right? So as in, I think today we're just talking about how we started UnDesto and kind of like the pains of launching a startup, an AI startup. And I'm the CEO and founder of UnDesto, and so like a Latina female in AI space, which is a little bit insanity, right? Because when you think about like AI, most people think like 35 to 25-year-old white male, and they don't think of like me, right? And so, yeah, just interesting. Today we're just going to talk about the pains because you and I have gone through some serious
Growing pains. Yes. Yeah. There we go.
So I actually launched UnDesto. I incorporated UnDesto last year with Amazon. It was at Amazon, and Amazon was starting like all the layoffs, and I was like, I'm not going to have the rug pulled from underneath my feet. And so I decided, before I joined Amazon, I was a consultant, and so I decided, let me just restart the agency. And I toyed with like, do I start it? Do I start it, or do I keep JSI, which was my previous consulting company name? So JSI stands for Gina, Lane, Stephanie, and Isabella, right? My three kids. So I decided, let's turn a new leaf. And yeah, so today we're going to be talking about us being abducted by AI. And so that's why you have an alien hat. So you guys can't, that TikTok can't see Chris. Let me see if I can turn this over. So we're in my office right now. And so we're live on LinkedIn Live. And for you guys on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok also. So you have options here. So I'm gonna take the little alien cap off Chris right now. We are on Restream also. But yeah, so like, let's, I don't know, Chris, where do we start? Let's introduce yourself.
Hi, Christopher Ellis. I am okay, there we go. Hey, everybody. Hi, TikTok. My name's Chris Ellis. I'm the Director of Business Development. But given that we're a small startup, titles don't matter. You do what you have to do. Pick up the brooms, you sweep, you program, you send emails, you answer phones, you do all that stuff. You out and network. But I have a career and background in finance and business and entrepreneurship, and that is where I thrive. And that's what I bring to the company. Now, Myra has taught me since the company started and I joined. She put me through basically has me drink through a fire hose of learning AI. From classes, courses, workshops,
our deep conversations
and understanding. And so she let me know that I understand a lot more about it than I thought I did. I was very much afraid to speak to it because I didn't want to appear like I was like a fake or a fraud. But she gave me a lot of insight and helped me understand a lot more about the business and about the technology stuff. So it's pretty awesome. And I'm lucky to have been tutored and taught by her.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah. So
yeah, and so I like, right. Let's like, if we talk about like, we, you joined me. I want to say like it was like December is when we decided like,
December
why
last year.
don't you come and jump on? I wasn't really doing anything, and I was in a hellhole at Amazon. It felt like a witch hunt. And I finally separated from Amazon in September. And we hit the ground. I was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
We were running before. Yeah, we were.
Yeah. You were doing some stuff.
I was
yeah.
doing some stuff. Well, that was, I take that back. I'm doing stuff on the outside, trying to have us hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad we are where we are, doing a few, like when you would do keynotes, and then I would navigate on the backside and find people who really wanted to engage with us and find and pick our brains and see what it is we knew and how we could help them help navigate through this. But on the startup side, though, it was and still is, it's choppy, it's growing pains. It's a learning curve from who will engage us, who everybody needs us, but not everybody, or everybody wants us, not everybody needs us, that they are aware of.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's fun.
And people don't have, and companies don't have, so we are business to business, right? So we do business to business. I'm going to steal the TikTok from you guys. Okay. So we're business to business. And we had to figure out like, who is our customer? And Chris and I have like these crazy conversations around, we do a lot of theory thinking and like stuff that isn't business related, which is fun, but also sometimes we butt heads on the business side a little, right? Because I am a little stubborn. And we're trying to figure out, Chris will tell me like, you should do like X, Y, Z. And I get like all in my feels, right? And then sometimes I cry.
Sometimes, if she hasn't had a nap,
if I haven't had a nap and haven't eaten, sometimes I cry, but we get over it very quickly.
Yeah. Just have a sippy cup and graham crackers sometimes. Yeah.
A sippy cup and graham crackers.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
It's not mean. It's.
You getting the alien hat back on.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
So, one of the things, so let's just talk about like who's not here. So Leah got abducted by aliens today. She was supposed to be here. Leah is our digital marketer and our project manager. She's also my baby sister. And so she has been a great addition to the team. I actually hired Leah the day after I left Amazon. So I was like, okay, I'm going to run with this hard. I'm going to hit the ground hard, but I need people because when you're launching a startup, going alone is scary. It's hard. Yeah. And so you need people around you. So hi, Robin. Thank you. I'm excited for us too. But when you go alone, it's really hard because there's so many different moving pieces to a startup. And there's just a lot of things that you need to do. And so I think it was, while I was at Amazon, I was like, let's apply for let's get on the GSA schedule for the government, right? So we can do some government work. Kind of, I was thinking like we can pawn Chris off, he could do some work and stuff. And so that in itself was a process. We're still going through it because they had closed down the minority business portion where you apply. And so now it's open and we're in the early stages of that. It's just been really interesting. And, so I'm funding the startup out of pocket. So we don't have any investors. This is all out of my own pocket. And bootstrap. That's like sneaker strap.
Yeah.
That's like shoelacing.
Yeah.
Puma strap. Yeah. And luckily, like we're building systems right now. So we landed our first contract, our first big contract.
Yes.
Yeah, which is super exciting.
Yeah,
super stoked about that. It's scary at the same time. But we've been lucky to have some really good people in our network. So I'm going to tell you, personal branding building your personal brand is super important because I spent years building my personal brand, and I have created a network of people that either want to work with me, are cheerleading me on, want to be a customer. Yeah, it's just like it's been overwhelming, kind of the level of support that we're getting. So building your personal brand
Very important.
is super, super, super. I can't stress it enough. So, you know, like I have a personal brand on LinkedIn. I make sure that that is impeccable. It's still me, right? It's still Myra. I am a little, I will admit, a little quirky.
Nothing wrong with that. Quirk isn't bad. Quirk is good. Quirk is needed. Quirk is needed.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. So, Chris, what about you? Like when you think about like what we've been doing, right? I would love if we pivot. Let's talk about some of the experiences that you've had in. Need help with that? Here. Okay, let me straighten that. So, you've been doing a lot of prospecting and going. We joined the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce. You joined Provisors. I joined the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We've been joining like professional societies, and you've been going to a lot of events, meeting people. And I would love for you to share some of the horror stories that we're hearing around like AI adoption, because everyone thinks they're supposed to be further along than they are. And there's so many instant experts that are popping up. Like I've been in this field, I've been in tech for 20 years, and I've been in the AI space for 12 of those 20. Yeah. AI is not new. And I wrote my first book in 2019. It took me a while, right? Around like the concepts of AI and like building. Actually, it was a workbook on how to build Alexa skills, which is an AI tool, right? But yeah, can you talk about some of the horror stories?
All right, so some of the horror stories are. Let's start with one.
No names though. Let's not throw no shade, please.
It's just it'll be a pseudonym type situation. Okay, so went to an event that a Fortune 500 company had where they were going to be talking about AI and how it can help them be implemented into their systems and processes, and they were selling these systems and processes to other industry professionals. It's in the HR field. And I sat and I listened and I networked and met everybody I could. And it was great people everywhere. But as they spoke and started presenting, I started to noticing that they didn't have their ish together. And they left big holes, and those big holes would lead to lawsuits, and they had already led to lawsuits with other big Fortune 500 companies. And I noticed it, but then I also looked around the room and noticed that nobody else knew or understood what those dangers were. And the more places I go, the more events that I see, the more presenters and experts here and there, it doesn't matter where, I see it over and over again. These people are on panels and are being presented as experts and knowledgeable. And they do know little, but since I've been taught by Master Yoda, I can see where the holes are and where the danger is. And so I might ask a question or two, and they fumble and come up with lies and BS.
What's your favorite lie?
Okay. So is everybody is aware? Well, I'll take that back. Everybody is not aware. A lot of people are aware of the issue with bias with AI.
Yeah, you may have read about it, right? Like AI bias, and you may not know what it means, right?
You may not know what it means. It means that it might choose something over something else. That's as simple. without understanding what the system is.
It could discriminate against
It can
underrepresented groups and perpetuate
stereotypes, human bias, and even broaden the gap in access and control. So, given that, I asked a question at this symposium and presentation by this Fortune 500 company. I said, "What are you doing about bias in your system?" And they fumbled a little bit, and they hem and hawed, took a couple of coughs, and the end result was they said that the U.S. Supreme Court was going to handle that. Yeah. The U.S. Supreme Court is going to handle the bias issue, and that's how we're going to deal with it. We're going to wait for the Supreme Court to deal with and finish that off. I almost spit up my drink. I stood up and gasped. I put down 2 of my business cards on the table and said, I gotta go. These people are going to get somebody sued. And the people that were sitting at the table next to me looked at me, and they were like, "What is going on here?" I was like, just be careful. That's all I can say. Is just be aware, be careful, and do your due diligence. Due diligence is going to be necessary. So that was one of the wildest ones, and that's happened.
More than once, right?
It happened at least 3 or 4 times where these big companies, leadership organizations, industry panels, and you just shake your head and hope that they will allow you to help them out if they so choose. But yeah, that's happened, and that is it's scary. But hey, they chose who they chose. They spoke what they knew, and that's part of those instant experts. And again, first, I am no expert. I am no expert. I do not know the mysterious ways of the Force. She is one with the Force. I'm merely a Padawan. Merely a Padawan. Shout out to my Star Wars fans.
Shout out to your Star Wars fans. So one of the questions, so if Leah was here, I know she wanted to ask this question. She wanted me to answer it. So I'm gonna, Leah, if you're listening, I'm gonna ask you a question. So Leah asked me, the question was like, with all of these instant AI experts that are popping up, and we're seeing new AI agencies pop up on a regular basis, almost daily, how do we differentiate ourselves from those startups? And so Chris and I have had some lively discussions around, like ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is not AI. It's not the only AI. It's what everyone knows. And what I told them is like, we're not peddling, like, here's how to write your next best prompt. That's not what we're here about. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take a strategic approach to AI implementations. So helping companies make responsible decisions around AI. So that starts at the very beginning, which is like ensuring that we understand the customer needs. We uncover those. We have discussions. We build relationships. We build trust, because we're not there for the short term. We're not in it for a short term win. We're in it for like a long haul to drive them and help guide them through their AI journey. So that's why we say we're their trusted AI advisors, because we want them to come back to us when they have a need also. So when you think about all of these AI startups out there, you have people that are, I can sell you an automation, I can sell you
prompt engineering, prompt library.
Like I can write. They are not addressing the things that leadership and executive leadership need, which is like, what is my AI policy within my organization? How am I, like, what tools should people be using?
How are we going to mitigate risk?
Yeah, how are we going to mitigate risk? What's our policy? What's our strategy?
Yeah, where we're gonna go? What's our ultimate goal in using the tools?
Yeah, what's the ultimate goal in using the tools? What is how are we going to measure success? How do we measure the ROI of implementing
AI, and then how we're going to teach our employees
Yeah.
how to use it effectively, and how do I lead through this change?
Yeah. How do I lead through change? That's a big one. How do you lead through change? How do you adopt to change?
Yeah.
How do you, because a lot of companies are still in the 80s with their processes, right? Like they're, it's like, we don't do it that way. So like, whatever.
Windows 95.
Yeah, no judgment, right? But if they're thinking about AI, they really need to have those pieces in place, and they need to train their employees, which brings us to Nicole
Papiano,
who I adore, from your instructional designer. We are actually partnered with her and her company, Your Instructional Designer, and we are launching an AI Academy. We have one right now for business to business. As part of our solutions, we can go in and train an entire team, but we're launching an AI associate program for the general public, and I'll post that link. See, I know I was gonna get myself in trouble because I don't have the link. But I'm gonna post the link. I'll try to post it on all of the medias. It is a 7-week experience, and it's an AI associate.
Yeah, direct to consumer.
Yeah, direct to consumer. So as an individual, you can join. Now, this is not, we're not going to be covering, like, here's how you write the latest prompt, right? We're going to start with, this is almost going to be like a college class, like, what are the fundamentals that you need to understand? And we'll talk about, like, building an AI business case for AI. That's a skill you won't learn in school. That's a skill you won't learn, any kind of boot camp that you go through. So we're really going to be covering, like, how to build a business case for AI. We're also going to be covering, like, the fundamentals of AI. Like, what is it? How do you speak about it? How can you explain it to, like, executives or to your teams internally? We also have, we're going to be covering, like, mitigating bias. I have some techniques for that. We'll talk about, like, how to evaluate tools. Like, when you're looking at tools, how do you evaluate them? Like, what are the things you should be looking at to make sure that the tool you're using is secure, right? And then the other one that the other thing we're going to be looking at is a lot of play. We're going to be doing a lot of building. We're going to build AI agents.
Yes,
I know. We're going to talk about, like, how to create inclusive AI products. And this is only the foundational, so it's a 7-week. We are going to be launching the next level to this also, but we're starting off with this. The first cohort starts, let me see, I'm looking it up, January 20th. I'm going to put this in the medias. Let's see. And so putting all of this AI Academy stuff, we'll put it on the different channels that we're on. On TikTok, I think I'm going to put it on my profile. You have a link so you can check it out. We have a webpage that you can go to. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Hi, Fernando. I just saw something.
I used to saw Fernando.
Yeah.
So I think that, overall, this has been a joyride. Let's talk about some of the other, like, stuff that people don't like to talk about, like the
business side,
insurance, and
so
compliance stuff.
Compliance and insurance as it pertains to
a business.
To a business?
Yeah, to a business.
Okay.
Like, remember the headache I had trying to figure out, like, what insurance I needed to get? All
right. So one of the things that businesses have to have, and that we kind of, I did a lot. That was one of the things I used to do. So it wasn't as much of a headache, but getting the errors and omissions to make sure that when you screw up, you don't lose everything that you've invested in the lawsuit. Errors and omissions. So you finding the right codes for your industry can I guess isn't necessarily difficult. You can just do a Google search and find, let's say, if you're in technology and consulting, uh, just a matter of doing a Google search. What's my NAIC code for for technology and consulting? And then that's what you take to any of the insurance companies. And there are brokers, and then there are direct companies. Take them to a broker because a broker will shop it for you. You get a lot more. Uh, you get a lot of different quotes, so you can get the better rates if cost is your main concern, which it is for most people, at least as a startup. You don't need the name brand coverage just yet. Get your feet in the water. Another thing is a lot of companies will choose to operate their business out of their garage. So one of the things you want to do is get an address, it can't be a PO box because you can't have a corporate address be at your PO box, but there are places like the UPS store or other places where you can get an address, and you can have that be your corporate address. So everything isn't physically coming to your house, and when people do a search on your company, they say, "Oh, you live at 1122 blah 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 street," and now they can see where you are, and now you're doxxed and all that stuff. So from there, you just get that fictitious address. It's a big help, and that also matters with the insurance as well. But
yeah, and then opening a checking account, right? Trying to figure out like what bank do we go with. That was interesting for me too. So I shopped around rates. So I went with Chase Bank for small business because they were going to charge me like a monthly fee for the account. And then for like we needed a CRM, and we needed like a way for me to do accounting, billing. So originally I was on HoneyBook. I was using it for like, it's good for small businesses. So if you're like a small business that has services or products, HoneyBook is great because you can add your customers. You can invoice from it. You can send proposals. They can digitally sign. It's good for the small scale. But we grew so fast. Like our interest list has like over 100 companies in it right now. No, actually 100 people, 162 people on it. And I forget how many companies. So we actually switched to HubSpot because again, we shopped around. Chris was like, let's check out Salesforce. I was like, that feels too big for us. Like they're expensive. Yeah. And we did some shopping around and landed on HubSpot. And HubSpot is pretty affordable. So we're using that for our CRM. We store documents in it.
Store documents. You can do email campaigns from it. You can create a lot of different automations from HubSpot that link into any other systems that you might have, like your lead gen, lead capture, newsletter marketing, email marketing. It has a lot of functionality, and then you can upgrade what you can and can't do. It's a good tool.
And then for accounting, we went with QuickBooks Online, and it connects to HubSpot. So whatever we get, like our customers it does that whole like can enter integration. So the systems talk to each other. That's really important for me because I didn't want to have systems that weren't talking to each other, because then that means you're doing like extra work to make sure your records are correct everywhere. And then we also use one of the things that the shortcomings of like HubSpot and QuickBooks Online is that QuickBooks Online is good for products if you're selling products, not good for services, like to send proposals or contracts. So for that, we're using Better Proposals. And Better Proposals, we have some templates in there. And so when we send it, so that's also connected with HubSpot. And
so we can save the proposals from Better Proposal in HubSpot, and you can set up a whole entire company profile in HubSpot, where you can save all your data and your forms and all that stuff and documents so that you can have access to them as it's associated with those particular clients. Love that. And then heck, you can even link it to social. Like if you have a company social, you can automate some social lead cap.
And so all of our systems talk to each other, and that again really important. So when we create a proposal, embed a proposal, I start by making a deal in HubSpot to let it know that this is a deal that we're going to start. I create the proposal, embed a proposal. When I send it, it updates in HubSpot, and it also updates in QuickBooks. So I like that's like music to my ears, right?
Yeah. No duplicate, triplicate, and quadruplicate entries. So love that. Time savers.
Definitely.
Using the tools that we preach.
Yeah, definitely. And so we have some automations in there. We also use MailChimp for newsletters because it's a little more, we can control it a little bit more than HubSpot.
Well, one of the things I found out is you can control more in HubSpot, but it's just a matter of it's a cost management tool because HubSpot has that functionality, but it's just that
it's really expensive
and it's expensive. It's native, but it's more expensive.
It's like $500 for the year.
But here's the thing: MailChimp syncs with HubSpot.
Yeah.
So you can get the same functionality in another tool
for cheaper.
So that's something
for cheap. And then Leah's using Be Free to actually design
the
newsletters, and that integrates with MailChimp, that integrates with HubSpot, that integrates with everything. So it's a beautiful symphony of things. So we don't use tools that don't interconnect with each other, don't integrate with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes for time savings. It's the stuff that we preach.
Yeah.
That's going to help any size business become more efficient, and what is it? It's a force multiplier. That's the word I like looking for. It's a force multiplier for what you're going to do for your business.
Yeah, and then for our team, we use Slack.
Yeah, shout out to Slack.
Yes, and so it has. Let's see. So Slack integrates with HubSpot also.
Yes, it does.
And we have Google Drive integrated into HubSpot for our folders.
Yeah.
And that's there's not so there's Zapier for that integration. Zapier
creates all the automations
between HubSpot and Google. Just for that, that's all we're using it for.
The other ones, they actually integrate directly. They have direct integration or a little button that you can push.
Yeah. But I found out that today that I can do it directly through Slack.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we might be able to do away with the Zap stuff. So so it's like these are all the things and this is just like
it's new
surface layer, right?
Surface levels.
This is just because there's so much more around. Like if I only told you how much I spend in AI tools, you guys would my bill this year for AI subscriptions is like $30,000.
I didn't get paid that. I don't think that's minimum wage. Let's have a talk about subscription. Although those subscriptions are a little bit more efficient than I am, so hey, there's a value add.
You make commission.
Oh, don't worry. Don't tell them what I make. I made a joke.
Oh, you make minimum wage. Sorry, we are paying him minimum wage.
Yeah.
That's all he makes.
That's another thing about starting a business is determining things like when you start out, where you are on the benefits tree. Are you going to have benefits? Are you going to be contracted employees? Are you going to be commission based only, so 1099? And how you're going to set up your infrastructure, and you have to be lean and agile to start.
Yes.
Lean and willing to say, look, I'll pay you more per deal until we get our feet completely, until we reach, I like to call it escape velocity, where then you can transition from 1099 and contract-based work into more salary-based contracts.
Yeah.
So that is a real situation that business owners have to navigate, and that we're also navigating as well.
Yeah. So right now, everyone on the team is 1099.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not 1099 because I'm the owner, but I don't do any draws.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't do draws from the business because you got to make money to make draws.
Yeah.
We made a little money so
A
far.
little bit of money.
Yeah, we made a little money, but I'm reinvesting that because we have $30,000 worth of AI tools.
AI
that
tools
we're
to pay for. Yikes.
I know. AI is expensive on our payroll.
Yeah, AI is expensive, can be expensive on any payroll. If especially like I met a prospective client, and he said he got a government to use it to build or to build his business, but it has to be through tech. And he came to me and he says, "Yeah, I want to build a large language model." And I shuddered. I was like, "Oh, you." And inside my head, I was like, "Oh, you don't know what you just said."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You do understand how insanely expensive that is?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I got a grant." I was like,
I got a grant. No one is building their own large language model.
You didn't get a $200 million grant, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, and that would be a weak language model. That would be an inexpensive one, and yours wasn't that. So I was like, let's have a sit down. Let's talk, and see where we can actually help you do what it is you think you want to do
or need to do for that grant money. Yeah. So it's interesting. That brings up a subject, right? Like people say, "Oh, we're gonna build. We want to build our." Sorry, we're like transferring.
For TikTok
over and over. Yeah. But people tell us like, "Oh, we want to build our own large language model," and it's like, well, you're not building your own large language model.
Yeah.
You are actually piggybacking on top of a language model, and you're building an AI like application.
Yeah.
That works off of an existing large language model.
Yeah.
So when people tell me, "Oh, like we build our own large language model," I'm like, "Oh, you got bank."
Like,
right?
Like, why have I not heard of you and your name in the list of multi-billionaires that have built? You have as much money as Google and Amazon and OpenAI and Microsoft. Geez, your name should be on this Forbes list. Right.
Yeah. So what we tell people is like when we try to get them to use the right language, so they're not building their own AI model. What they're doing is they're building their own AI system or application, right? So they're piggybacking on top of a large language model, that's a tool that actually, that's what makes like ChatGPT run. It's the large language model that sits on it. It's what helps it do what it's doing. And so we do a lot of education. Very much. Of education. And so I would tell you, like, the people that we've spoken to, we always start out with, we do a discovery phase with everyone. There's a charge for the discovery phase because we go in and we learn about your business.
Yeah.
Right?
Do a deep dive.
What are the goals? Like, what are you trying to achieve? What systems do you currently have? Because Chris hated this word when I gave it to him. Like, we're implementing AI frugally. And he was like, "I don't like that word." Frugal doesn't mean cheap. Frugal doesn't mean inexpensive. It just means that you're using the systems that you already have and helping you exploit those systems, use them to
the
fullest capabilities, and identify like where you need to fill the gaps. If you need to fill the gaps at all. Right? Because you may have everything you need. Because unless you're like building a rocket, and you're using it for something other than email to like, transcribe some documents, you don't need a whole new AI system. And so, I mean, we could rob and pillage everyone and be like, you need an enterprise version of 5 systems, and we'll be the reseller of it.
We'll be the reseller. That'll be $11 million.
Yes.
We'll take that in Bitcoin, however you want to pay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's super interesting. But it's been an interesting ride for us to actually just launched a startup and see how quickly it's growing. And I'm super thankful for that. I'm super grateful that I have built my brand in a way that my personal brand in a way where people have been able to earn people's trust. I do a lot of speaking at conferences, I keynote, I do workshops, I've been doing this for a long. I have like 4 or 5 published books, working on a 6th book. And that all of that helps to build that trust that you need in order to run a successful business.
Given that you garnered all that trust and have been working a lot and working really hard, what's the biggest positive and the biggest negative that you've experienced so far as a startup?
Well, the biggest positive. Let's start with the positives, because we always start with the negatives. The biggest positive for me has been, the ability to build a team that is kick-ass, right? To build a team of people who want to do the work, are passionate about the work. Our newest addition is Debbie Richards, which I'm super stoked about. So Debbie's coming on to help us with a new segment of our business because, again, growing super fast. So
I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, so we are going to be taking on authorized partners. So we are developing an authorized partner channel or authorized partner program where organizations like consulting organizations, whether you're a business consultant, a leadership consultant, education consultant, organizational psychology consultant, you can become one of our authorized partners to offer AI consulting to your customers. And the way that we're structuring that is a little unique. So we're offering some training for the authorized partners, putting them through our process, giving them access to tools, to our tools. We can add them to our CRM because we're finding that a lot of them don't have CRM.
Yeah.
Adding them to our CRM, adding them to our tools, and working with them. It's their customer, and
but they don't have to know everything.
Yeah, they don't have to know everything. So we're going to train them on how to do the intake,
how to speak intelligently, and use the language so that they can also transition in from their normal business to speaking a little bit intelligently about AI, and then saying, I'm a partner in this organization and I can connect you and bring you this solution that you obviously need. Let's make the connection.
Yeah, and so that's we're test bedding that right now. We are going to be working with Olive Consulting, out of the Grand K. Which is super interesting because we need to now register as a foreign business in the Grand K, so we can do business there. So it's super exciting, and we're building that out, right? So basically, we'll be training the consultants, the authorized partners, on the intake and the discovery part of it, which is a lot of like listening, a lot of like discovery, a lot of figuring out what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, that's it. What's causing you issues that you think AI can help you with?
Yeah, where are your pain points? Even operational, where's just your general operational pain point?
Yeah.
And so then working in collaboration with us to come up with
solutions,
recommendations and solutions. And I'm also building, I haven't told you this, but we're also building our engineering arm. So,
we talked about
that. But this is, so I had some official conversations early this morning.
Okay.
That you were busy with other stuff. So someone said they're here for the rabbit. Man, my rabbit just died. My AI rabbit.
Oh.
Yeah, here. It's not dead. I just haven't charged it. They're here for this.
Haha, right on.
Yeah. So this is my AI rabbit. Yeah, I got a ton of little gadgets. So I'm the gadget. I have to charge. The thing is, you have to charge these things, right? AI is expensive. And
so is a power bill.
Yeah, so it's a power bill. Yeah. And a water bill for it. then we have our AI pin. I know everyone likes to see all the gadgets.
Yeah.
This is my AI pin. Oh, my ghost board. Hold on. Everyone's asking for a tour. Hold on. So they call it the ghost board. Is my chess table right here. And I think here, so this is an AI chess board, and the pieces move by itself when I play with it. So it can strategize. Yeah. So I'm going to be going live on TikTok. Don't worry. We're going to play some chess. I've just been really busy launching this startup.
Been really busy.
Really busy.
A lot of
really
stuff to
busy.
do.
Yeah.
Non-stop. Sun up to sun.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the negatives, because I talked about the positives, building a great team. The negative?
The negatives?
The obvious for me, right? Hold on. No, my negative.
Your negative.
Let me start with my negative.
Right, go ahead.
My negative. Look at this. Look at this. I am a Latina female with gray hair.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know, Latinas make up 1% of AI specialists globally in the world. I am part of the 1% group. And so what that means for me is like, yay, right? But it also means that I have to always prove myself in the room. It does not matter. God forbid, which always happens, that the room is a lot of non-Latinos. Like, even if they're Latinos, Latino men are just like they're in another category altogether, right? And so are Black men. I'm sorry, like men in general. So when it's a challenge for me because I have to prove myself constantly. I get challenged. They will ask me like the craziest questions to see if they stump me. Sometimes there are questions that are, the question's crazy. Like, where are you coming from? Like, what are you trying to achieve with that? And so it's super interesting. That's been kind of my negative because it makes my work extra hard. I just want to do the work, right? I just want to help you have a solid AI implementation. You have a different challenge. Here, hold on. Let's pass this over to you. So Chris,
challenges too. Yeah.
Hold on. So Chris today is in plain clothes. Chris is usually in a suit and tie.
Yeah. I have to be
Baller.
No, not baller. It's just that whole combating perceptions of, and I get the same experience as you. When you say what you do, they want to challenge you, and you're not lent any credibility at all. Doesn't matter where you come from, what you know, how long you've been there. It's just that's life. So combating stereotypes, bias. When you step into the room, nobody looks at you like, okay, you're a person of value, and so then the people in the room will basically try to say, for the lack of a better explanation, they say, well, give me something for free so I can see that you're value. Give me the information for free. Like, no, would you provide? You're a law firm. Would you provide me free legal advice? Would you come litigate this thing for me for free to prove that you're a good lawyer? And I get that a lot, and it's kind of funny, and I have to check people, and it sucks to have to check people. Like, no, bro, that's the information that you pay for if you want that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be happy to help you. And then, but now they might be a little bit set back, like, oh, he has this type of attitude. Like, no, it's not. It's just you provide financial advice for a fee. Let's say you're a fee-based service. Okay. Then if I ask you, hey, how do I do X, Y, and Z? What do I do to increase my portfolio size? Can you give me what's the next stock trade that I should? That's what you get if you have your Eagle Strategies license. Then they'll say, well, that's what I do for a living. I'll be happy to talk with you, but I want to sign a letter of engagement. Okay. Well, the same thing with me.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to talk to you and help you in the company. Sign a letter of engagement. Let's figure out what you really need. let me talk to the decision maker, the guy who's going to cut the check, and then I can tell him what the value is, and he'll understand it. But there's a lot of gatekeeping, and so you have to present a certain way for him to even let you in the room to be able to answer the questions, to speak knowledge. So it's it is what it is. It's part of life. Hopefully one day we get past it, but for now, you do what you do.
You know what's also interesting is when Chris and I are together at an event and we're surrounded by other men, right? Usually it's me and like Chris and all these guys, and they will talk over my head because I'm 5'3". So they're all having a conversation up here, and I end up having to look up. That doesn't lend credibility, right?
No.
When I'm standing there and I'm having to, it's like pick me up.
But I always make sure, depending upon the conversation, if it's anywhere with business or tech or whatever it might be, I audibly defer and point them to the person that is the smartest guy in the room, and it's normally not a guy. It's Myra. So I'm so respectful of what she knows and her talent, skills, knowledge. That's an awesome Myra. You're the dude here. You're the alpha of the group. Please.
Yeah, I appreciate that you do that. And it is right, because it's hard, because when we walk into a room together, the assumption is that you're the dude, right? You're the dude, and I'm just I'm like the little token you brought with you.
You're the smart guy, and I'm the leader. Is the assumption? I'm like, no. Like, she's a smart guy and the leader. I know some stuff, and I can help you, and we can do some business together. But don't overlook what's really going on here.
Yeah, I think that's something else that is a battle, because I don't know if you noticed this. I forget where we were. I think we were in Laguna Beach, and we were talking to some men, and they kept on talking to you. Right? Like, they were sending the questions to you, even though I was answering, but they weren't like looking at. I think it was cultural too, because they were like, from other countries.
Yeah.
But that was super interesting.
Yeah, I remember that was at breakfast.
Yeah, it's super interesting because
the big round table breakfast. I mean, there was a proximity thing where I was
sitting right next to them too.
Yeah.
It was a round table.
Yeah, it was a big round table. So I remember that. But it's cultural, and
it's cultural, and also because you can sit with the dudes, and I look like I need a freaking booster seat.
A high chair. Okay, that's fine. Those indeed are those are things, hurdles. I'll just say that those are hurdles. But we have plenty of strength to get over these hurdles. So I think we're gonna kill. I'm
gonna bring my own high chair from now on.
That's fun. That's fun.
Oh man. All right. I think we are almost at time, Chris. So do you have any parting words for our audience?
This is gonna be a fun ride. The podcasts are gonna have some stories, and it's gonna be definitely some hold on a second. Track that. Oh, stop it.
What stopped? What happened? Did we lose TikTok?
No, I had to. It said. No, I had to.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's gonna be a great ride, great stories, great information for people that actually want to start, whether it be in the AI business or
any other type
of business. We're gonna come with nuggets that'll help use leverage some of the information that we can bring. Some of the knowledge and some of our experiences. It'll be good. Plus some funny stories.
Yeah, and so hold on. I'm gonna see needing the high chair. Yes, so I'm gonna order my high chair today, guys. My booster seat. So look, I could do it on this seat though. Oh no, is this as high as it goes?
Yeah.
Okay. Not on this chair. He's as high as it goes right now. But yeah, I think for me, we're gonna be doing takeovers on the podcast. We're gonna do monthly lives like this. We have our regular podcast is OMG AI. You can find us on all of the channels. Again, it's OMG AI. Chris is doing the takeover next month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's gonna do because he was like abducted by aliens. That's so childish. I'm like, dude.
I didn't say it was childish.
I wanted to be an astronaut, so I always play into like aliens. It's a big part of like my thing, right? So you can do whatever the hell you want when you take over, and then Leah's gonna take over in December.
Yeah.
And so she's gonna have fun with that, and then we're gonna have Debbie do a takeover.
Yeah.
Debbie doesn't know yet. Debbie, if you're listening, you're doing a takeover in January. And
I already know what mine's gonna be.
You already know.
Yeah. It's gonna be the Skynet.
Yeah. And I will have a custom made booster seat for myself.
There you go.
And we'll make sure that we take pictures of me bringing it to meetings so I can sit in the booster seat so I can be at eye level with all the guys.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That'll be a good one. Yeah, mine's gonna be about the perception of the AI actual takeover. So Skynet.
Oh yeah, he's going Skynet on you guys. He's such a nerd.
Yeah, I am. I'll own that. That's right. I'll own that. Star Wars, Skynet, all of it, Star Trek, you name it. Lord of the Rings, bring it on.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know what Leah's gonna do. So we decided I'm gonna buy a 12 by 12 plot of land in New Hampshire for my sister Leah because she lives in Ipswich and is very Harry Potter.
Wait a minute, New Ipswich.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna buy a 12 by 12 plot of land from her. I might need to be a little bit bigger, but we're gonna put a phone booth on her property. And that 12 by 12 piece of land, then I'll put a phone booth in my yard so I can teleport to New Ipswich. So I think she's gonna do like, I don't know, we'll see, Harry Potter theme maybe. And then I think we might go live from Puerto Rico.
That should be fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna be in Puerto Rico. I'm gonna go check on Carmen Fernandez to make sure she's not climbing ladders. That's my mom. So we'll be there. Second week of December or something like that. I'm also going to be November. Sorry, November. I forget what month. On November 14th, I'm going to be on the tercera conferencia iberoamericana de institutos miembros y so you can find that on LinkedIn. I promise I won't do any Spanish podcasts just yet. But I may be doing some Spanish stuff with Iberoamericano, and hopefully Fernando's on here, just promoting that. And looking forward to having you guys follow us on this journey of launching an AI startup. This is just the beginning. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yeah, you guys are the best. Bye. Okay, I'm ending all of this. Let's see if I can end everything the right way here. Bye, guys. I ended TikTok. Let's end this.